How's it going, guys? Today we are back working on the Z, and we are going to be doing some control arm bushings. So if you guys have been watching my the final build series, you'll know that I kind of started to work on these and then just kind of gave up because I didn't have the right tools. Well, I have the right tools now, so we're going to go ahead and melt out these old rubber bushings. And old is a relative term. I believe these are original, but they're actually still in pretty good condition. They're not cracked or anything, at least not severely. So I do feel a little bit bad we're getting rid of them, but we're going to be upgrading to, let's see, this polyurethane bushing. These right here, if I show you the part number, that's the part number for the 1984 to 1989 lower control arm, front lower control arm bushing. I got this when I got my full Prothane kit, so it came in there. I've just had them for quite a long time. But basically what we're going to go ahead and do today is we're going to be burning them out, and I've got this MAPP torch, M-A-P-P, that I got on Amazon. The reason I bought this one is because MAPP just burns a little bit hotter than propane, but you don't necessarily need a MAPP, you can just get a propane. And the good thing about this is this top part here, it actually will transfer over to a regular propane bottle, so I can use it for both if I want. So, I bought this, it was about $40. Couldn't tell you how much the Prothane kit was. I want to say it was probably $150 for a whole kit, but that might have changed, it might have gone up because I bought that a couple of years ago. But regardless, we've got our control arm right here, and basically what we're going to do is just heat up this metal sleeve on the inside here. You can see it's painted, so I think the paint is going to get a little kind of gross. But supposedly you just heat that up, and then eventually the outer rubber will actually melt on this, and you can just take like a flat blade or something and push it down and out. There is a flange, I don't know if I can show you guys too well. There is a flange on the rubber right there. So that side is facing down, so it's going to slip out the bottom. The other side is like this, but reversed. You can see I've got tape on this one still from painting. But just make sure the flange is facing downwards so you don't have any issues with that. But regardless, I think this is going to be a very straightforward process. It shouldn't be difficult, but fingers crossed, we'll see. I'm going to go ahead, I'll set up a time lapse and we'll see how long this takes. I'm just going to go around. You want to evenly heat all sides of the bushing. Obviously getting back here is going to be a little bit difficult, but you know, what are we going to do? So I'm going to go around and then just kind of push it out and see what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and let's see how well it goes. Alright guys, so I did move outside because it was getting pretty stinky. Obviously you're burning rubber, so it's not going to be the best smell. So unless you have a well-ventilated space, I do recommend just going outside from the beginning, because now my shed smells pretty bad. But regardless, we did get the bushing out. As you can see, it is pretty good in there. I went ahead and burned it some more with just the torch, and then started scraping it with my flat blade right there. And got it pretty good, pretty clean. I'll go ahead and hit it a little bit more with both scraping and burning, just to kind of clean this out as best as it can be. That's just going to increase the life of our polyurethane bushings. But I'm going to go ahead and also do the other side, and then we can work on installing these. Alright guys, well I got both of these burned out. Probably a word to the wise, don't use tools you care about too much, and wear gloves, because I don't know if you can see, just touching the rubber, it just gets on your hands even when it's cool. I just guess it's just the kind of rubber. You guys can kind of see, it just kind of coats everything it touches. So blades, screwdrivers, you know, pliers, anything like that. Either wrap it in something or make sure it's a tool that you don't really care too much about, because it will get a little bit rubbery. So now these are looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead, take them back in the garage, and we'll put some actual bushings in them, the new polyurethane. I do have a fan in there to kind of air it out, so hopefully it isn't too loud, but we'll see how it is. So let's go ahead and put some new bushings in. Alright guys, well it's pretty smelly in there, so we'll go ahead and install these out here. So here's basically what you're going to get in the pack. We'll go ahead and pull this apart real quick. So you have an outer bushing, a sleeve, and then a little end cap piece. And then you also get, well obviously one for both sides, you also get some of this polyurethane grease here. So this is what's basically going to keep these bushings alive. Polyurethane is very susceptible to wear. It's very stiff, but it's susceptible to wear. So you need this grease here in order to make sure it lasts its full lifetime. So what we're going to go ahead and do is coat grease all on the outside of this before we push this in. And then on the outside of this, I don't know if you guys can see, there's grooves. Yeah, you guys can kind of see those grooves in there. Those are grease trap grooves, so that's where the grease sits in, so that this bearing, this bushing sleeve here, gets plenty of grease throughout its lifetime. So I went ahead and grabbed just a regular glove. I'm going to go ahead and smear some grease all around, and then we will push this in, and hopefully it goes very straightforward. Alright guys, so it was a bit hard to get this in just by hand, so we're going to go ahead and smash it on the bench vise. Realistically, you'd want like a plate to cover this whole face right here when you're putting it on, otherwise you'll just kind of like leave a line. Because we have the metal bushing in the center, I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue. You also may have seen I put grease, I don't know if you guys can see, on the inside lip right there next to the polyurethane, and then also on this lip right here. That way as it gets pushed in, you get a nice even layer of grease all the way around. And then this is actually longer than like this part right here. So I have a ball joint press kit, and this is a cup for it. So we're gonna put the cup right here. That way when we're compressing, it can actually come out the other side before it bottoms out, so to speak. So it's gonna be quite a big clamp. So you might have to do it just this and then put the cup on, but I think mine's big enough for this. So let's see. Yeah, I got plenty of room here. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this down. And we're just gonna make sure that this is nicely centered so we're not kind of causing any issues. And then this is real time, guys. It's very easy to push in, so you don't have to put too much force into it. You don't want to force it for sure. So we're just gonna go ahead and slowly press this guy back into it. Alright, and if you guys might be able to see, there is grease squeezing out around there, so we know we got a good amount of grease around the edges. So we will go ahead and take this out now and put the back side on. Alright, I've got the back side here. It's just this little flange piece. We're going to go ahead and fill it with, obviously, some more grease, and then we'll put it on. I don't think this is going to stick very well, so it might just be something once we put back in the car, obviously it'll hold it together as it gets squished, but we will see how well it holds. Alright, so here's the back piece. You can see there's already a bunch of grease that got pushed out with it. We'll just take this guy and slip him over now. And that's looking pretty good. You don't have to worry too much about extra grease. It's not going to cause any issues unless you get on your bolt threads, of course. Oop, got a bunch of grease on my hands there. So we'll go ahead and just hit it with a quick towel just to make it easy to handle. But other than that, it's looking pretty good. Alright guys, as you can see, these are our two finished control arms, and they're looking really, really good. The nice black paint on the red polyurethane looks really nice together. Overall, guys, this was a super simple, much easier than I expected it to be process, and I think that anybody can do it as long as you have just a little bit of tools. Obviously, the MAPP torch that I used, you don't need MAPP, you could use propane. Either of those, they're about $40 on Amazon for a tool with the end and the tank. So not too big of a price. I rented this ball joint press kit just because ball joints actually fit in here, so I already had it, so technically I was just kind of for free, but it's rented, so it's also for free in that sense. And then finally, I just used my bench vise a decent amount to hold it and then pull it back out. Really just anything to kind of hold it. You don't want to necessarily be holding the metal that you're trying to burn, but this part actually stayed pretty cool. It was just the sleeve that was getting hot, so that's really good. So other than that, guys, I think this is a simple process. I think pretty much anybody can do it. As always, if you have any comments, definitely drop them down below. I will answer them for sure. It might take a few days, but I'll answer them. I hope you guys thought this was a really helpful video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next week.